30-something radio stations now, and no more calypso is played than was played when I was a child 60 years ago, right? The radio stations now, the management, the DJs, whoever, they do not feel that they have an obligation or whatever, a right, or they don't have a concern, right? If I listen to them, and I don't very often, but when I hear them talk, they would say that the quality of the calypsos or the recordings are not good. There was a very famous DJ, very popular, when I was growing up, and I had just started calypsos. And all the calypsonians will tell you he refused to take their CDs and play, or their records, it used to be 9-inch and 12-inch, because he said that the quality wasn't good, and he dismissed everybody. Maybe Sparrow might have been an exception sometimes, and there was another particular one who controlled the radio station, the afternoon. He had a very popular afternoon program between 12 and 4 o'clock. 5 days a week, he played absolutely no calypsos, and so it is, to my mind, it's more these gentlemen, if you could use that term, who control the airwaves, who dictated, because you will only like what you have some exposure to. I don't know how people don't understand. If you don't hear calypsos, if you've never heard it, and I think a significant number of the young generation, under 40s, under 30s, they have not heard enough of good quality calypsos. I had the experience or the benefit of having that when I was young, because Sam Ghani, Bob Gittins, Auntie K, and I'm saying Bob Gittins is on radio 5 days a week. On Saturday night, there was a show called Calypso Night at the Calypso tent or something like that, and you get more calypsos. Auntie K had a very popular children's show in the afternoon. She started Junior Kaiso, and she encouraged people. Sam Ghani was right here in Radio Trinidad, and even if it wasn't calypso, there was an emphasis on local, indigenous music created in Trinidad and Tobago. So the major players, those who were on radio, and eventually when we got television, they felt they had a national obligation to their country to promote the music of their country. And they did it. And we who were children, we heard, even if it wasn't 24 hours a day, we heard enough of our music. We heard enough of our people singing, right? And we got to love it. Somehow or the other, somewhere, we allowed the foreigners to take control of the airways. The people who are in charge, either those who are in radio station management, head of radio, program director, or whatever, they, and the vast majority, they don't feel that they have an obligation or it is a duty to promote what is local and what is indigenous.
So do you believe that in 2019, we should bring in broadcast quotas? I mean, Jamaica did it at a point because Jamaica had a high influx of American music. So some years ago, well, not some years ago, I think in the 90s, the Jamaican government said, no, listen, we're going to have to implement some broadcast quotas. We must play at least 50% of local music. So do you think we need to do something like that in Trinidad in 2019 and going forward?
Of course. I will say more than that. I would say it's very sad that you'd have to do that, right? It's very sad because all the broadcasters who are based here should, without anybody telling them, should know, they should understand that they should feature, right, what is local, what is indigenous. None of them think so, right? They present a range of excuses that I don't have to repeat now why they shouldn't. And therefore, the state has an obligation, I suspect, to implement the broadcast quotas. But even that you wouldn't get. And I'm saying that because at one time I used to be in the forerunner to TUCO, which was the Calypsonians Association. And me personally, try to organize the lobby, organize the people, go to see the minister. I sat next to the minister and say, look, you need to do something. And the minister said to me, we as the government do what the people want. And we are not convinced that the people want their own. That's the Minister of Culture of the day talking to me. Nobody tell me that for me to repeat. I went to try because you wanted to get your calypso played and all local things. And it hasn't happened. It's nearly 60 years we are independent. And nobody feels that they need to. You have the promoters, however, who feel that at every Easter and at every Christmas and at every Independence Day that they need to bring foreigners and have concerts. And they will now tell me that that is what the people want and that is the popular music. But I go back to the point I made before, right? For years, they blocked the local indigenous music from mainstream. They blocked it. So a whole generation has grown up. They do not know calypso. What they hear for soca for 2 or 3 months between December and February is not it, right? That's popular dance music and so on. Enjoyable and so on, but that is for the party. Calypso is much more than that. And there's a range of themes of calypso. And anybody who was serious, any program director who was serious, could do the research and find the religious ones, you know, the soothing ones for Sunday, those that you play for the party, those that can educate the children about themselves and so on. And then you are surprised that young people do care about their country and do care about their own and find themselves in all kinds of negative activity. But you promote the gangster rap. You promote it. When all the maxis used to be playing all the nonsense and you tell them, stop the maxis from playing it, they say they have a right. So they give them the right to play it. Now they're reaping it and they can't understand why all the young people so. There's a reason why the young people so. You have made them into that.
Yeah, I agree. We have indoctrinated them with a lot of negative music and negative cultures.
And now there's negative behavior. So why you shocked? Why you surprised? Right? So I am saying, go back, do the other thing. Play all the soft music, play all the... No, I say this all the time. I go to the beach to relax. You know, you want to hear the waves and the birds and so on. And people come and park their cars and they open the doors and they play all this North Americans. And a lot of it laced with obscenities. And they play to the highest volumes you could think of. I don't go to the beach, well, at least not in Trinidad anymore, because of that. And because there are no rules, there's no law, there's no standard, it's not enforced. And there's a downstream to that. And we are now struggling with the downstream. And the quicker we understand that music has a purpose and so on. A famous saying from Shakespeare is music has charm to soothe the savage breast. So if you find savage behavior and so on in young people, then wake up one morning and do something else on the radio station. Play something to soothe the savage breast. The way the young people are behaving is exactly like the music they play.
I agree. Thanks a lot, Short Pants,
No
for being
problem.
a part.
Anytime.